It's Ash from Super Videos back for another video. In this video, we're going to be looking at the Walking Dead Rick movies. We're going to look at who will potentially cross over into the Rick movies. Now, of course, from the Walking Dead's original show, the only character that it really kind of makes sense, and they've kind of been teasing at it, that's going to be crossing over to the Rick movies is Michonne. So we're most likely going to see Michonne in the Rick movies. If not the first one, then the second or the third. And of course, we might see previous Walking Dead characters who have left, like Heath, for example. But specifically, we're going to look at Fear the Walking Dead characters. So which one of the Fear the Walking Dead characters that we've seen, maybe the ones specifically in season 5, will be crossing over or are more likely to be crossing over into the Rick movies. The first character we're going to look at is Isabelle. Obviously, Isabelle was from the CRM community or the group, and that's the exact same group that took Rick, and she left. She went back to the CRM. I think it's very, very unlikely and odd for us not to see Isabelle ever again. So she's most likely, or most definitely, if it's my own predictions, going to be in the Rick movies. Now, other than Isabelle, there are 3 other characters. The first one that's very, very likely is Althea. I think Althea, having that connection already with the CRM group and Isabelle specifically, is extremely likely to leave Fear the Walking Dead and end up in the Rick movies at some point. Now, I did speculate that we might see an intermediate step before that, and we might see Althea cross over to the Walking Dead season 10 first, before crossing over to the movies. I did a separate video on that, like I said. You can go and check it out. I'll put a screenshot of the video where that's coming from, so you can go and check it out if you're interested. But I think Althea is extremely likely to, at some point, end up in the movies. Regardless of whether she goes to the Walking Dead season 10 first and then goes to the movies, or just directly goes to the movies, I think it's very likely for her to end up in the Rick movies. The second character that's a little bit less likely, but still has some chance to show up in the movies, is Morgan. Now, Morgan, having that connection with Rick, it would be absolutely amazing for fans to see Morgan and Rick together again, especially if we look at Rick and the possibility that his story is going to end in the movies, because we don't know if he's going to come back to the TV show after or not. And if he doesn't, that means his story is going to have to end. And it would be extremely appropriate to have Rick end his story with Morgan being there, because Rick started his story with Morgan. So Morgan also has a chance of going to the movies, although less likely. Fear the Walking Dead's strongest character, or one of the strongest character, is Morgan. So are they really going to let him go, or are they willing to let him go? Probably not. So that means that as great as it would be for Morgan to go, it's probably not going to happen, because Fear can't afford to lose this great character and this great actor, Lenny James. After Morgan, the next character that's likely to go is Alicia. Much like Morgan, Alicia is one of the strongest characters. So that itself makes it unlikely for Alicia to be doing any sort of crossovers. But if they are going to shake things up a little bit and give us something very, very shocking, we might see Alicia make her way into the Rick movies, and it'll be kind of interesting to see how she might fit in. But other than them, I don't see any other person being able to cross over into the Rick movies for it to kind of work, because none of the other characters have any connection. Dwight, on the other hand, that's also another possibility, but that being said, he just crossed over into Fear the Walking Dead. Does it really make sense for him to just leave right away when he just joined? Not really. So that's that. So the only characters that have that connection who might be able to join is Althea, because of her connection to Isabelle and the CRM group already, Morgan because of his connection to Rick, and Alicia. Now for Alicia, there isn't a direct connection. However, think about it, because they did mention we might see past Fear the Walking Dead characters in the Rick movie. So what if a character that we thought died comes to the Rick movies, like Madison Clark? Now, if Madison shows up in the Rick movies, yes, it would be shocking, but fans would really, really enjoy that. But at the same time, there hasn't been any kind of indication that she's going to end up in the movies in the first place. But assuming she will end up in the movies, then there you have the connection right there. Alicia can show up because Madison is there. We could have characters reunite in a huge way. Now, this is extremely interesting because if we assume, and again, we are just speculating, if we assume that CRM is Commonwealth from the comics or an adaptation of the Commonwealth. Not saying they're going to completely replace them, but let's say they're adapting Commonwealth's storylines or a portion of their storylines. Then, if we think about one of the storylines in the comics with Commonwealth, there is a big character in the comics that reunites with a family member in the Commonwealth. So, they could bring that into the TV universe, but instead of having that be that same character or even anyone from the Walking Dead universe, they could have it be someone from Fear the Walking Dead. And the characters that are going to reunite are going to be Madison and Alicia. That would be sort of a big shocking event, but it's something that's going to make everything extremely smaller, like the whole universe. Because if you think about how everything is lining up and how everything is set up, it'll be extremely interesting, and it's like everything has been set up perfectly for that. Now, I'm not saying I'm a fan of it, because I do have my concerns about that, but at the same time, if we're going with speculations, that's one speculation as well. So, in my opinion, the very first character that is most likely going to show up is Isabelle. I think if she doesn't, it'll be very confusing. The next character that might show up from Fear the Walking Dead is Althea. And then, if not Althea, then either Morgan or Alicia can work their way into the movie. But with that said, Fear the Walking Dead's gonna need to take a risk, because both of those are strong characters in Fear the Walking Dead. And of course, like I mentioned, with regards to Alicia, for that to really work, they would need to cross over Madison into the movies first. But I want to know everyone's opinions about this. What do you guys think about the characters that are going to cross over into the Rick movies? Who do you think will cross over? Do you agree that most likely Michonne and most likely Isabelle are going to cross over? And we might also see previous characters like Madison and Heath, and also newer characters like Althea. So let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video. If you like what you see, press like, subscribe for more content, and press the bell button to receive notifications for daily uploads.